So one of the things that comes up periodically from time to time is this question of, is being a Buddhist monk selfish or is it selfless? So anytime that I make these kind of videos, I just want to put a disclaimer out there that it's not to convince you of anything. It's not to prove that you're wrong and I'm right, but it's more of taking the time to share from first-hand experience, someone who's living in the monastery, someone who is living this lifestyle from our experience. And what you do with this information, if it helps, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. But for me, just wanted to take time to share. So then we need to ask this question of, where does this come from? So for me, to address this issue, I can see without the proper context, without the proper knowledge of what a Buddhist monk is, what they do, their place in society, it's easy to assume when you see that the monks are just living off of the lay people, or in your opinion, we're living off the lay people. One can assume that we are taking the easy route, and because our life has so much suffering, we're giving up and we're choosing the path of easy, the path of giving up and coming here, and we're quitting. And we're quitting in that we just want to live off of others, that we don't contribute anything back to society. So again, without the proper context, I can see how one would assume this or make this kind of assumption. The second part that we need to address is then, what is the underlying assumption or underlying belief that we can all agree on? And I think it comes back down to, we can all agree on that as a citizen of the world, that we need to be productive citizens and we need to give back and we need to do our part and make this world a better place, a more peaceful place. And with that said, is we agree. As a Buddhist monk, or any monks, any monastics living around the world, I don't think you can find a place where someone says, you know what, I don't want world peace. I don't want things to be better. I don't want things to improve. That's not the case. But as monks, as lay people, I think we have this innate thing where we do want world peace. We do want the world to be a better place. But the difference and the question is, how do we get there? And I think as a Buddhist monk, it's just our path is different. Our path is different in that we feel that the way to make a change in this world is really to change ourselves first. And there's a lot of people out there with very good intentions who are fighting for this world and doing their part, and that's great. But sometimes there's also people with great intentions who are currently trying to change the world, but without the knowledge and without the wisdom and without doing their own work first, then they become the problem itself. So for someone who is wanting to promote peace, how is that possible when you yourself don't have peace? So I think that's the first thing, where for a Buddhist monk is just the way we see things. It's really, we want to help out the world. But the way we do that is that we need to heal ourselves first. We need to clean ourselves, and even more importantly, do our work and then cultivate wisdom. And we do that through threefold training that's laid out by the Buddha. And it's really through the discipline, through keeping our morality, and our daily practice of meditation. For us, that's how we develop oneself. That's how we get rid of the ego. That's how we cultivate goodness and purity, and most importantly, wisdom. The second part to this that I feel is missing in the conversation, because people can see or make the assumption that we're running away from our problems. We're going into the forest and we're hiding. Well, that's partially true. I'm here in the forest. I'm hiding, I guess, if you want to use that word. But for me is taking that time to do my work and taking the time to get stronger. And then, again, the second part is when we get stronger, when we cultivate the wisdom and the depth with ourselves and we become an actual practitioner of peace, then we go out there and then we help the world. And it's difficult because there's not many monks out there that is vocal as kind of what you see in the world. You know, we're not actors. We don't have a job. We don't have business. We don't have any of those kind of things. However, that doesn't mean that we're not going out and helping the world, but it just might be a little bit more quiet and a different way than what people are used to. So then how do we help the world? Well, different ways. You know, one of the ways is by inspiring faith, and that is through the alms round. That is through meeting with people who are suffering and they're needing some wisdom to help them. I'm here at a retreat center and we have thousands of people who come through the door and they want to practice meditation and they want to learn wisdom and they're suffering. And they've been traveling around this whole world searching for something because they want to explore themselves. They want to know who they are, but they don't have the tools quite yet. Or they want to go on a spiritual path. But what is that? How do you get there? How do you train yourself? So these are the people that we meet with on a daily basis. You have monks who are scholars and they write articles and they contribute through the education system. We have people who are teachers and they teach local people. They teach small villages. I'm here at the Pape Meditation Retreat. And when we meet with people, someone out there in Texas or in California might not see what's going on, but it's happening. You know, where we join with the local community, where we give blessings, and maybe to some that might not be important, but for us is just the other day meeting with a lady who was very ill, you know, and she had the tubes in her nose and she was having a hard time breathing and she was getting frail and her family was there by her bedside. And for them, it was a time of suffering. And we were lucky enough and got the opportunity to come bless the family. And it was amazing. And it gave them a sense of relief. It gave them some security and some faith that everything is going to be okay. So many ways that we give back, and giving you just a few examples, but there's many things, and we contribute in a way that is just might not be conventional to what people are used to. Yeah, so then coming back to the question of, is being a monk selfish and are we just running away from our problems? But for me, it just comes back to the perspective and the person you're asking. If the person who's being asked doesn't value wisdom, then this might not be for you. You know, where, in my opinion, is we have a lot of smart people. We have probably in human history the smartest people. Now, we have the richest people. We have the most resources. This is the time where you can be a teenager in your room and through a keyboard, you can ask any questions. You have so much resource and so much information. Now you don't even have to type. You can even ask by voice a question and you can get the answer. We have all that. But why is it, then my question is, for us being as advanced as we are, why are we suffering more? Why do we have people feeling more lonely and more depressed and not happy and lost and not being able to connect with relationships more than ever? Where people are using substances and we're addicted to social media and we're just craving and we're not fulfilled. So we don't need just more smart people. We don't need just more rich people. But for me, in my opinion, is we just need more wise people. We need more good people and pure people. So if you're looking at our world from a capitalist lens, with money and fame and power and praise and a business and status, then of course we don't meet those standards. But for us is really wanting to go invisible, to genuinely do our own work, to genuinely be happy and to be a peaceful person. And then through that, you can help the world, but in a more subtle way. We feel like we don't have to yell and scream and to make a ruckus. And being silent and being invisible, you can shift the world this way also. So it's just a matter of how do we get there. And again, for us is we just want to do our own work first, get strong, then help others. So how else would someone come to this conclusion? And for me is, again, it goes back to values. Coming from the West, keep in mind besides a capitalist mode, we also have different values in that we value youth. We value intelligence, and we don't value age, and we don't value wisdom. So when people pass a certain age, or in your language is they get old, they have no worth. And then we get rid of these people. And what I love about the East is we really take care of our elders. We really value what they have to offer. Their experience in life, yeah, maybe they're not as strong physically, maybe they're not as whatever you want to call it, but through their life experience, through the wisdom that we learn, they have something to contribute to us. And that's why for us is we value our elders. As a monk, we still have the Pante order, and for us is we take care of our senior monks. They hold everything together. They pass on stories and traditions, and for us, we value that and we respect that because I don't know if you're aware, but Stephen Akovi talked about this, but we're evolving. Before we were at the agriculture age, and then we went to the technological age, and now we officially entered the wisdom age. And for me, I think the next phase for us is to solve our world's problems. Like I said before, we don't need more rich people. We don't need more resources. We don't need more pretty people, but we need people who are kind. We need people who are genuine and people who have wisdom. And I think that will help our world. And for someone who doesn't see the value of wisdom, the value of monks, it's okay. And again, for me, it's just understanding the life cycle is when you're young and you're healthy and you feel invincible and life is great and you don't need any of that. But just know in a few years, maybe 10, 20 years, you're also going to get old. And hopefully, with this paradigm that you have, when you're in need and when you're suffering, hopefully someone is by your side that can inspire you and give you faith as well. So for me, maybe our work might not be loud. Maybe our work might not be as visible out there, but I feel like we do have a place in society and we do contribute in a different way. So some examples that I want to give to illustrate this point is we always hear when we're taking a plane, where if the plane is coming down, what's the first thing that they tell you? Put on your mask first before you help others. Same thing. So is that move selfish? That you're gonna save yourself first before you help others? I don't know. It depends on, again, your paradigm. Meeting for me with the parents who have very young children. I'm just thinking of moms who they feel guilty to take time to care for themselves because they feel like they need to be with their child every single second of the day. And they don't want to separate because they feel like they're bad moms. So for a mother to take time to care for herself and have some time where she can rest, is that selfish? I don't know, you have to answer that yourself. And meeting with clients even back home, again, like I said, as a therapist, when people are suffering with addiction and they're not able to function anymore. Again, good-hearted people, they all want to help change the world, but is it selfish that they check into a treatment center, get themselves solid, set your own boundaries, know when to say no? Are those kind of things selfish? And for monks, same concept. Same concept, meaning we're gonna work towards the end goal, but we just need time, and we want to take the time to fully develop ourselves, become as clean as possible, because we don't want to just go out there and be part of the problem. And to cultivate wisdom takes time, it takes practice. It's not like a normal education system. I can get a certification in mindfulness. I can get a degree in meditation, but really what we're saying is we're practitioners. And practitioners mean we do the work. We just don't have these degrees and credentials to put on our wall, nor do we want to, nor do we need to prove anything. But that's just one way. But I hope this video helps to shed some light. And again, if this is helpful for you, I'm glad. And if not, it's okay too. But I just wanted to take the time to share from someone who is here in the middle of the forest, taking the time to develop himself. And hopefully, I do have a place in society and can give back to help others who are suffering also. So thank you.